After over 2 months of nationwide lockdown in China, life is finally getting back to normal. As soon as cities lifted their shelter-in-place rules, people rushed to parks to grasp the last bits of spring. Restaurants and cafes are packed with people, and kids are coming back to their favorite playgrounds. However, life was very different before. On January 23rd, the Chinese government imposed a lockdown in Wuhan and other cities in Hubei province to quarantine the center of the COVID-19 outbreak. Very soon, other cities in the country started to impose lockdowns as well. Besides closing down public spaces like restaurants and movie theaters, people were not allowed to travel freely outside their house either. Entrances to many neighborhoods were blocked, and health police started to appear at the gates. You needed a special pass to get in and out, and body temperatures were taken every time. Non-residents were not allowed in. It meant you needed to pick up deliveries at the gate yourself. Only one person per household was allowed to leave the house during a certain time of the day to run errands and get groceries. Gina Wu, a junior at Boston College, wound up staying at home in Shanghai for the entire lockdown after her study abroad program was suspended.
You're doing everything inside. There's no eating out, and we made all the food orders or fruits, vegetable orders all online. No matter it's a residential area or a business district. Whenever you're entering a building, you have to get temperature checked.
Wu is thrilled about the end of the lockdown since she's finally able to go out with friends, but she is still being cautious about it.
Everyone's wearing a mask when they're out, and I think only when you're probably eating out is when you can take off the mask. But I know also the restaurants have been taking a lot of measures. They put out all the sanitizers and alcohol pads on the table, and they kind of space out the seats.
Risky places like hospitals are still implementing strict rules. People need to scan their house code, a system that tracks whether you have been to a high-risk area with COVID-19 before entering the hospital. With life now getting back to normal in China, many international students who study in the U.S. are eager to come home. Eric Chen is a junior at NYU, and he recently just flew back to Shanghai.
The reason why I chose to come back to China is that China is right now recovering from the COVID-19, and it is much safer right now compared to New York.
Chen said it was the most difficult trip of his life.
The total flight duration is about 15 hours, but if I added the time before and after the flight, the total time would be around 25 hours.
Chen got to the airport 8 hours before his flight and waited for 4 hours to check in. Like many international students flying home, Chen was well prepared.
So on the flight, I kept wearing the goggle, my protective clothing, and the disposable gloves. And I changed my N95 masks every 4 hours during the flight. I didn't eat anything on the flight in consideration of the safety issue.
Everyone is required to fill out a health form before landing, and you can only get off the plane when your name is called. After getting his temperature checked and getting a nasal and throat swabs, Chen was finally on his way to the quarantine hotel where he would stay for the next 14 days.
We needed to take body temperature check on our own twice a day, one at 9 a.m. and the other at 2 p.m. For 3 meals, the hotel staff will knock on your door and just leave the food on a table outside of your door.
While many international students are enjoying reunions with family, they're raising concerns as well. Bobby Finn, a sophomore at University of Southern California, is one of many who was worried about continuing his studies in the U.S.
Especially for international students that going to college in America, for right now, it's just such a hard time because you don't know what time, are you able to go back or not, first of all, and second of all, when you're going to happen to go back.
Added to these uncertainties, more people are worried about the resurgence of the virus this fall.
There's going to be the flu plus the virus. And the virus probably gonna mutate even more at that time, and that's gonna put like a lot of pressure on like every country's medical system.
Wu's concern is well-founded, according to Chinese public health expert Oliver Zhen.
According to the worldwide situation and the information we can get, there will be a second wave in this autumn and winter. But I don't think China may have a larger scale outbreak, maybe some local and small scale cases.
Zhen says that's because China can take measures to control the outbreak right at the beginning, and the country has relatively adequate medical resources. However, he said people still need to be cautious as there won't be a vaccine available for 12 to 18 months.
It's still necessary for us to wash hands frequently, keep social distance, and wear the masks, and strengthen our immunity. And we must be ready for a long-term battle.
Student Bobby Fen says he's ready for that battle and doesn't expect an end to COVID-19 anytime soon.
I feel like it's going to be a common thing just in the future. You know, like coronavirus will be just like a more serious version of flu. I think it's going to happen. It's going to exist around us for a longer time.
For NYU Now, this is Teresa Zhang.